What are the effects and responses of earthquakes in developed countries? The United States is a developed country. The Northridge earthquake, Los Angeles, occurred on 17th of January 1994. The earthquake occurred on land and did not cause a tsunami. The Northridge earthquake hit a modern urban environment that was designed to resist seismic events. The subsequent response to the earthquake was fast and carried out without dependence on international aid. Los Angeles lies on the conservative plate boundary between the North American and Pacific plates. The most major and most famous expression of this plate boundary is the San Andreas Fault. However, in reality, the plate boundary is made up of a broad band of different fault lines. Greater Los Angeles is a highly urbanized area, characterized by very high population densities. Prior to this earthquake, 4 significant earthquakes, 5.8 on the Richter scale, had occurred in the Greater Los Angeles area since 1933. These earthquakes were responsible for a total of 195 deaths. So what were the effects? The Northridge earthquake struck the San Fernando Valley, 32 kilometers northwest of Los Angeles at 4:31 a.m. on Monday, 17th of January 1994. The earthquake was shallow, with an 18.4 kilometer depth, and measured 6.7 on the Richter scale. The fault rupture lasted just 8 seconds at the source. People felt shaking for just 20 to 30 seconds. Ground shaking was the most vigorous ever recorded during a North American earthquake. The pattern of ground shaking severity and damage was complex. The local geology, which is in this area highly complex, played a significant role in determining where was most vigorously shaken. The fault line that caused this earthquake does not break the Earth's surface, and as such was previously unknown. This fault was a thrust fault, a type of fault that forms in local areas of compression, leading to one side of the fault moving up and over the other side of the fault. By the end of 1994, 11,000 aftershocks had occurred. 400 of these were large enough to be felt, including 8 which were measured between 5 and 5.9 on the Richter scale. A retrospective study of the seismic traces showed that there were no foreshocks or measurable changes in the strain before the event. The earthquake could not have been predicted. The earthquake caused 57 deaths, 1,500 serious injuries, and an estimated 10,000 injuries in total. This death toll from this event was relatively low to the size of the earthquake. This was partly because it occurred early in the morning on a public holiday. People are generally safer in their homes than out on the roads. Moderate to serious damage was caused to 12,500 buildings, and 20,000 people were made homeless. Days after the earthquake, 9,000 homes still had no electricity, 20,000 had no gas, and 48,000 had no water supply. 60,000 people decided to migrate from this area following the earthquake. The earthquake caused an estimated $30 to $40 billion worth of damage. It is the costliest seismic disaster in US history. Over 10,000 landslides were caused. Some of these blocked roads, cut off water supplies, and damaged homes. The Earth's topography changed permanently. The surface rose by 50 centimeters in some areas. So what was the response? Building codes were put in place to ensure that new buildings would be able to withstand ground shaking. Los Angeles City had been carrying out a scheme to retrofit unenforced masonry buildings. Many of the thousands of buildings reinforced during this scheme were exposed to significant shaking and survived. Some of the population had emergency supplies such as water and a torch stored in their homes, and many will have known what to do during the ground shaking. This is as a result of education following past earthquakes. Many businesses and homeowners had taken out earthquake insurance. What were the post-event responses and outcomes? The California state response included inspecting buildings and assessing the level of damage, dealing with the 110 fires caused by the earthquake, and providing medical and policing services. State agencies were supported by national agencies such as FEMA and the USGS, who responded rapidly to the earthquake. supported by funding from the President of the United States discretionary fund. 16% of uninsured financial losses were covered by national and state financial aid. The earthquake exposed outstanding weaknesses in the building codes and led to the updates of these codes. The earthquake sparked efforts to locate blind thrust faults and update seismic hazard maps for the region. Insurers were unprepared for the level of insured loss caused by this earthquake. That's $12.5 billion. Following this earthquake, insurance companies improved their scientific understanding of earthquake hazard and dedicated more capital to dealing with the financial outcomes of earthquakes.